The advent of Phase 4 of the MCU has been kick-started by strong films like Black Widow or Disney Plus original series like Loki and WandaVision. However, all of these shows and films have in common one particular fact. They are all still heavily relying on the backstories provided by previous Avengers films, and many of them don't really have the strength to stand on their own yet, making Phase 4 seem like a Phase 3.5 at times. At least until Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was released a couple weeks ago, and has taken the superhero filmmaking world by surprise thanks to its originality. Now, is this enough to make the film a worthwhile watch? We'll find out today. Welcome to Binge TV, and today we'll be presenting you with our exclusive review of the film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to turn notifications on for more videos like this one. Without further ado, let's begin. Shang-Chi presents us with Zhu Shang-Chi, played by Simu Liu, a Chinese martial artist who's just trying to create a simple life for himself in San Francisco. Sounds pretty staple for a superhero movie, doesn't it? Well, turns out that he's the son of Zhu Wenwu, also known as the Mandarin, the head of a criminal organization known as the Ten Rings. If you remember Iron Man 3 from Phase 2, you probably also remember there being a character similarly styled as the Mandarin being played up as the villain of the film, but being nothing more than a fraud by the end of it. In Shang-Chi, we're presented with the real Mandarin and the iconic Ten Rings this Marvel villain has employed as part of his super-villainous arsenal. Sean as a character is definitely on the side of good, but trying to fight away a haunting legacy left over by his family, which isn't that easy to shake off when your dad was a criminal mastermind with deadly magical artifacts as his signature weapons. His best buddy is Katie, played by Awkwafina. Wenwu, played by Tony Leung, is one of the main highlights of the film due to how compelling he plays the role of villain. He can be a loving father and a vengeance-driven monster and head of a shadow ninja army in the same scene, shifting from two very different but particularly shock-inducing personas that are different sides of the same coin. The plot is one of the film's strongest points, being compelling, original, and weaving cultural mythos into the narrative as to make it even more emotionally deeper. Basically, Zhu Wenwu discovered the Ten Rings thousands of years ago, 10 mystical weapons that grant their user godly powers, immortality, and of course 10 really cool-looking rings to wear on their forearms. This allowed him to conquer kingdoms, governments, and cities all across history, and eventually motivating him to search for Tai Lo, a village said to harbor mythical beasts, to expand his power. He travels through a magical forest to the village entrance, but is stopped from entering by village guardian Ying Li. The two fall in love, but the villagers reject Wenwu, so Li leaves with him. They have two kids, Shang-Chi and Jia-Ling, prompting loving father and at the same time, ruthless conqueror Wenwu to abandon the rings to take care of his family. Li is murdered by Wenwu's enemies, the Iron Gang, prompting him to have Shang-Chi undergo brutal training in martial arts and sending him at just age 14 in a deadly assassination mission to kill the Iron Gang's leader. After being traumatized by these events, Shang-Chi escapes to San Francisco and changes his name to Sean to lay low and escape his past. However, nor Wenwu, nor the Iron Gang, and much less the Ten Rings are going to leave Sean alone to live a comfortable life in California, as they are coming back to seize him into their world of chaos, murder, and vengeance. One of the movie's most particular qualities is how it feels like it's not even a Marvel film at some points. And in fact, that's one of its strongest points, one that even those who haven't watched the film and only watched the trailer have pointed out. What makes this film so unique is how it doesn't overlap as much as most MCU films tend to do with the larger ones. Iron Man, for example, is a big name in the Marvel industry, and Ant-Man could be considered a slightly less popular but fairly well-known superhero when compared with him. Ant-Man overlaps a lot with other Marvel films, but Shang-Chi doesn't overlap with any other major Marvel film, allowing it to stand on its own as a particularly refreshing experience that's still filled with the funny moments, great soundtrack, and action-packed scenes that Marvel films are known for. Of course, there are a few nods and acknowledgments to previous MCU phases scattered across the film, but nothing so eye-rolling that a new fan introduced to the MCU with Shang-Chi will not understand. This is important in the long term because one of the main issues of some new Marvel fans that haven't been here ever since the first Iron Man is how you need to watch 25+ films to understand Endgame fully, and Endgame is, as its name implies, already over. Phase 4 is a standalone phase giving birth to new superheroes, new stories, and new themes such as the value of family, love, legacy, and culture that are explored by Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi draws superhero-style myths, legends, and culture of new characters we haven't been presented with previously, and what makes it such a strong addition is its power to surprise even seasoned superhero film fans. The action is on point on this film too, particularly martial arts skills and hand-to-hand combat, as one would expect from a film like this one. We have some pretty powerful scenes, such as Shang-Chi showing off his martial arts skills on a runaway bus. The fight scenes of the film were coordinated by the late Brad Allen, a frequent collaborator with Jackie Chan, and what makes the action in this film so compelling is how each of the characters has their own style of fighting that expresses their personality greatly. Each hero's personal growth is shown by their changing fighting style, which evolves at the same time as the movie paces forward. An interesting but sometimes hard to notice little aspect about the film that shows us how powerful and deep the storytelling can be. Now, for the film's weaker points, we have noticed a common pattern with Marvel films' cinematography, and sadly presented the same way as always in Shang-Chi. It's bland for a film that's been produced by one of the biggest film studios in the world. On top of the use of CGI for some scenes makes it seem a bit visually numb, especially when you bring mythical creatures to life with the background being obviously computer generated, which makes them seem less than mythical and more on the imaginary side. That's one of the film's weakest points. The overuse of CGI kind of damages the emotional impact some scenes had in viewers, especially when we see characters fighting, talking, crying, or laughing, and it's painfully obvious that the scenario they're standing on isn't real. Even the finale of the film is highly reliant on CGI lights. Now, another main criticism of the film is a common jab taken at Hollywood films that portray Chinese culture one way or another, similar to how Mulan's live-action release was bashed by Chinese critics. Westernization. Even though Shang-Chi counted with Asian-descended creatives and made through a Chinese-American perspective, the film features a lot of badly portrayed Chinese culture and martial arts in the eyes of mainland China. As part of our final review, drum rolls please, we have given Shang-Chi Legend of the Ten Rings a rank of 4 out of 5 on our binge or bin scale. The movie is a definite binge. It's funny, it's charming, the characters and the actors are engaging, the story is compelling and different, and it's never boring. While the overuse of CGI can be a bit annoying and obvious during many scenes, the weight of the characters' performances and the emotional impact of the story aren't weakened by it as much as other Marvel films have been. We highly recommend you go ahead and watch it if you haven't yet. And that's going to be it for today's segment of Binge or Bin. What did you think of today's review on the film? Do you agree with us on our points, or did you find the movie different from what we've presented? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you next time for more.